welcome to Slayerfest 98. I'm Ian Carlos Crawford.
I'm David Diaz.
I'm Angela Rockstar.
And I'm Colin Smith, and today we're here to talk about Season 2, Episode 7, Plan B.
Yay. What did we think of this episode, revisiting it for this, David?
I love it because the very first note that I have just says Nif and Alice is so fucking fun.
David, was it you that compared her to Dark Phoenix to me recently?
No, and I think you might have asked that last time too.
I fucking asked you that already. I'm trying to figure out who did that. Excuse Nana's weed memory.
But like, no, I think she's so fun. I love how it's sort of like, also so much happens in the pre-credits. Like, I watched it again. I watched it yesterday and I watched it again today. And I'm just like, wow, this is like 5 episodes worth of pre-credits things happening at once. And I'm fully sold and bought in.
Yeah, I feel like most of their, like a lot of these episodes have been like that, where it's like, wow, 5 huge plot points happen, and now we're rolling the credits. Angela, what do you think of this episode?
I love it. I love anytime they use a golem in the Magicians. It's such a mythology that, like, you don't hear pulled out a lot, and I appreciate it. I love a lot about this episode. I really like, as we get in later, I'll talk about some of that. I don't want to spoil along, but there's just something specific that I really like. It made me, I'm like, that makes so much sense. It's the bank wards, but I feel like in life, like I believe that. I believe that is a real thing.
I knew you were gonna say that, Angela. Yeah. So it's funny because I just watched the episode where they make Golem Elliot, and I was like, wait, can he not leave Fillory? And then it took me way too long to be like, oh right, they did and that's okay. That's because I'm an idiot. Colin, what'd you think?
Oh, it's a fantastic episode. When you sent the list of what episodes I was going to be talking about, Plan B, I was like, okay, this is obviously the abortion episode. I had forgotten that the abortion was the reason for the heist, and I was so fucking happy when they said, let's go rob a bank.
Yes.
Yeah, this is I remember this being one of my favorite episodes when going through it. I remember texting Kim when I was doing my first watch. I was like, wait, I love this bank heist episode. And she was like, yeah, that episode rules. I forgot how much happens around.
Everything happens all at once in this show all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the opening is Nif and Alice yelling at Quentin. I wrote down this note, but I didn't write down the beginning of the quote. When she's like, and you ended up with Elliot's dick in your mouth. I was like,
I wrote that one down. She's like, what makes you an expert in in me, our garbage fire of a relationship that ended with Elliot's dick in your mouth?
She's got a point.
She does, because Nif and Alice is, I think I realized watching this episode, tied for my favorite character of the Magicians, along with Margot. Nif and Alice is right up there.
She's the best version of Alice in my opinion.
She's the Alice that I want to be.
Fair enough. I like the idea of this. I like the idea of his dead ex. It's almost like a form of grief, even though we realize it's Niffin. The Niffin's really there, but it feels almost like when you're grieving, you just keeps thinking of the person, and she's shouting at him, so he pays attention to the grief. Almost is how I took that, and I like that. Also, I gotta point out, Alice, that actor does a really good screech when she's when she's leaving the room. It's a very good, frustrated screech.
Well, she also has a great scream when she niffins out. She's a really good scream actress.
Yeah. And I will say that is hard to do. When we filmed the trailer, trailer I did for my book that never actually came out, I couldn't scream. There was a scene when I wrote for me to scream, and I was like, wait, I can't do this. Shit, I can't scream. I don't know what it was that I just can't. So I gave the scream to Kim. Kim can scream. She does a very good scream. But I just kept being ah. And I was like, why? I know this is bad. I don't know why I can't do this.
I think that was perfect.
Yeah. Ian, remind me at some point to send you the student film I did my senior year of college that is completely silent until the end when I die and all you hear is a scream. And it is my scream, and it is a terrible film.
I thought you were going to say, and it's a great stream.
Oh, brr.
But yeah, so it is a skill. We see Julia and Katie go to a Korean butcher. Angela, I feel like you'll know the answer. Is a mudang a real thing? Is that like a magical thing that they
I
call them?
feel like it is. I think I looked it up. Not this watch, but I believe that I did actually look it up in.
Because it felt like, I feel like magicians usually uses stuff that's
they
like,
feel like they're usually
the back of the butcher shop. I mean, that's like a real. There's people that do their workings in the backs of those kinds of places. That scene actually felt also very real to me. Like that could, like you could go get the magical abortion somewhere in the back of the butcher shop. Like you know the right person. That's exactly where that would be.
I liked the two women yelling at each other, and they're like yelling, and she's like, "Oh, we were just deciding what is the best tactic."
Like, we agree it's a problem. We're just trying to figure out what's best to do.
Yeah. David, I'm sure you had this experience growing up because, like, I remember I'd be like, when my mom and my grandma would be like loudly yelling in Spanish, and I'd be like, "Why are you guys fighting? Stop fighting!" And they're like, "We're not fighting. We're just discussing."
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah. And now I get to do that to my nephew. It's great.
She says it's like barely. What is she? I think she says it's not even an abortion; it's an exorcism, right? Isn't that what she calls it? Yeah,
because like
it's not human.
The baby's like life force is entangled with hers, and so you gotta like.
Man, Julia really can't catch a break. God.
He certainly cannot.
Also, great line from this moment is when she says, "Paper money is for drug dealers and idiots."
Yeah. This woman is smart because
I love her.
Gold bars, and she's just like, "That's what it is. That's the price. We're not discussing."
I respect it.
I feel like, not to be that person, but like Angela, you might agree. I feel like that also does make sense for someone who's like in like just she doesn't need paper money. Like gold would be more like
alchemy.
Right? Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, not only is it like, exchangeable everywhere, but like melted down, it's got some properties, I imagine.
Yeah.
You could use it in magical workings.
That's what I was thinking.
She said bars. Yeah. I love that.
Because like theoretically, paper money is just the promise of an idea of gold somewhere else. So it's just like, let's just skip the middleman, give me the real thing, which will always be the real thing, which you can then also use for rituals, spells, but also just money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I do love when Katie's like, well, like, just ask, her friend, like, she'll tell you I'm good for it. It was $1 million, Katie. You do not have $1 million.
Who's good for
like, of all the people on the show, you definitely do not have $1 million.
That is like one of us saying we are good for $1 million.
Yeah, I'm good for it. Yeah, absolutely.
Just pay it back. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll do installments of $10 payments. How long will that take? And I do like that Katie's just like, we should rob a bank. Roll credits because that's what they're gonna fucking do.
So good.
Yeah.
I kept thinking of have any of y'all seen the like heist episode of Rick and Morty where they're like making fun of
you son of a bitch I'm in.
Yeah, I was thinking of that and I was like, but like they do it well here. Post credits, I love that we only have a few little things to discuss before it's a streamlined plot. Julia and Katie scope out the bank. I like the like weird invisible like goblin thing that attacks them. It's like kind of creepy. And the spoon thing is like, that's kind of a thing in like magic, right? Like or an old item like using like, I don't know, that sounds correct. I don't know.
It's also just rude. What's the guy's hacking sack or a hacky sack?
Oh, the Haxon Paxton.
Haxon Paxton.
I do like the Haxon.
I love the Haxon Paxton. He's so sweet.
He didn't need to go out like that.
No, poor guy.
You should have had a gentler exit.
I kind of would have liked Julia to have like this like sweet goon who's like a monster but like wants to help her. I wouldn't have minded like
smells terrible.
A little more from him would have been nice.
This already happened, so it was in the other episodes, but I loved that he was litter box trained. Like I thought that was so ridiculous.
And he like pushes her one of his bones to be like, here, I'll share.
Yeah. I love him.
Yeah, I like the idea of this like horror movie looking monster actually being nice and just like He
Well,
likes
she's
her.
freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the show loves doing that where it's like, this character will carry over, but they're going to die when they carry over. I feel like the show does that all the time.
Well, it's smart because then you never get invested in anyone too much, and then you get like delighted at the people that you can get invested in, and then they die.
That's true. Like, I feel like Fen could have been one of those characters, right? Because she's like, isn't that major of a character at first. So it seems like that's someone the show would kill off.
She could be gone at any point.
Yeah. Katie tells Julia they'll need to hide out. And she's like, you won't like where we're going to hide out. And they go to break bills. So the Fillory plot is we learn that Fillory is broke, right? Just to coincide with a bank robbery. I like when Elliot's like, can we take it back? And Pick is like, no, we can't. She's like, good. She does not want them to take that back.
She is all in on war.
Yes, yeah. And then they talk about the wellspring, and that's when we learn that they are broke, which leads us to break bills. That's where Julia and Katie hide out. I have a question. Professor Lipson, when she's like doing her thing with Julia, and she's like, you ever seen the Twilight movies? I don't like what I'm like, I've seen those movies. I don't know what the fuck or she just like at David, yes.
So I haven't seen the movies, but I read a lot of Wikipedias about things I haven't seen, so I seem more interesting than I am. And so I am pretty sure that in Twilight, one of the entire reasons that like Bella has to like become a vampire is because she gets pregnant, and like if she doesn't become a vampire,
it'll kill
the baby will kill her. It's like killing her from the inside out. Think like Phoebe and Charmed when she was like pregnant with the Source's baby. Like this thing is like, it is an evil entity essentially. And like your life forces are now connected. You will die if this thing comes to term, essentially.
Okay, because I was like, she's like happily pregnant, isn't she, in those movies? But you're right. It's like she wanted to have sex.
She is happily pregnant.
Yeah.
It's killing her.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what's weird is like that happens in non-magical babies too. Like because each of the kids had a different blood type than me, I had to get this shot in my ass so that I wouldn't destroy myself after having that. It's called Rogam. It's really weird. Because none of them were Rh negative, and I am. So it was like my body would have tried to.
Yeah, that's hot.
Wow.
Angela, I feel like every friend I have who has like had a kid has like some very specific thing I've never heard of before that happened to them during pregnancy. My cousin Louisa got like really bad acne, and apparently that can happen when you're pregnant. Like broke out like a teenager, like all over, and it was because of the pregnancy, apparently.
That's wild stuff.
Yeah. So I do like that she takes Fogg in the other room and she's like, that girl is fucked.
Which I'm sure Julia and Katie could hear that. They were like, right outside the door.
Them, like right there. But I do like this. I like this teacher because I like that she's just fun. Kind of like, whatever. She's kind of like there for like, I don't know. She doesn't really care. And I like her saying like, you know, I know you expelled Katie. I know that you don't like taking people back. And a thing I think I very much appreciate about this episode is we do this a couple times where it's like, he even says, no, I know this is a special situation. And we see that they can stay because, you know, on the internet, we are taught the lesson of the opposite, but like more than one thing can be true at the same time. Right. Like Fogg can be like, I fucking can't stand either of them, but yeah, they don't deserve this.
Well, that happens a few times in this episode of, we hate you, but we're going to help you.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that.
Yeah. I wrote down like that direct quote just because like, it's so good. It's Elliot and Margot going back and forth. Like, yeah, we might not like you, but we're like emotionally advanced and we can understand how to like hold sympathy and resentment towards someone. And you do not deserve this right now.
Yes.
I'll put my petty grievance aside. Also, I need cash. Like,
Yeah,
this also works for me.
Also, big driving force.
Like, but like the fact that they're like, we have a common goal, and it also gets to mostly morally be good. Like, sure.
I wrote both those quotes down. I wrote a lot of quotes down in this episode. But so Quentin goes to Alice's room and finds Julia. And Quentin here also has the same thing where like I really appreciate that he is grieving the loss of like this, like the woman he loved, but he's still like, I'm not blaming you. I know you're going through a lot. Like,
I love where Alice is like, no, it's her fault.
Yeah. I like Niff and Alice like adding in like kind of like the old men from the Muppets where she's like, no. Like
raise your hand if you're dead because of her.
Yeah. I just appreciate that because, again, we do this a lot on the show where they are emotionally mature when they need to be. And that, I don't know, I mean, and true to life, some people in their grief are nightmares and don't know what to do. But I just like that he can be like, you are my best friend that I love. I'm mourning the loss of her. I'm not, those are different things. I'm not blaming you. Cause he also I feel like we can't undercut enough. We can't overstate enough that she was fucking raped by a god. So take out that last part and you feel bad, but add in that last part and it's ooh, this was even worse, God. And she's pregnant with the evil demon baby. But yeah, so I really appreciate that. I do love when Julia is you help me rob a bank, and Nif and Allison turns around and is God,
immediately.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh no, I hate this bitch, but we are robbing that bank.
Yeah. She's ooh, but doing that, yeah, I'm fucking in. What was it, David? What was the Rick and Morty quote where it's you just said it earlier,
oh, you son of a bitch, I'm in.
Yeah, that's Nif and Alice.
Because there's a part in the opening too where Nif and Alice just I'll be good, I'll be so good. I'm ooh, she's so me right now. There's a couple moments in this episode where I'm just I've done this before, or that's very me. And they're I'll be good, I'll be so good to get something you want. I've done that.
Katie runs into Penny in the library. I really like that they're both hey, and then just fuck.
And then immediately bang.
Mm-hmm,
as you would.
You both deserve this. Everyone deserves to get
so
laid.
hot.
Yeah, you're both hot.
Yeah.
I'm sure that sex is top tier.
Literally levitating. Yeah.
I want to have that. It's that and Buffy and Spike fucking a house down are the sex I want to have.
Yes.
Right.
Willow eating Tara out while Tara's levitating. And they sing.
I mean, well, I might be all right, can we stop the singing? I'm trying to fuck. Killing the mood.
Singing.
Yeah. I mean, I like that Margot and Elliot are checking in on Quentin. I appreciate this little detail of they don't know what's going on, but they're hey, we just want to make sure you're cool. Because I like that we're reminded that they are assholes, but they do care, right? They do. And Quentin seems almost I mean, I know they fucked him, so not maybe a little brother, but something like that where they're a little protective of him because they are oh, he's a sensitive nerd. We know we're not. Let's see how that little nerd's doing, right? I feel that's kind of what they view him as.
Yeah. I mean, because they say it even earlier, Elliot's having this whole crisis, wants to build the 100-foot memorial to Alice, and Margot's well, we're not even her friends. And at the end of that episode, she's no, we owe this to her because we weren't her friends, because she was a package deal with Quentin.
Yeah.
And so they care about him so much that they by extension know how much he meant to her.
Yeah.
Even though they seem like they're dicks, and that's fun.
But they are dicks, but they're good.
But they are dicks. Sometimes dicks have hearts. I love dicks. Famously love dicks.
Famously. And I like that he's you want to rob a bank? And they are so proud of him where they're oh, we really rubbed off on him.
The time we invested in you is paying off.
Yeah. Also, Margot looks so hot here.
Mm.
Just that outfit, that hair,
she's wearing the red.
Mm-hmm. She's got the swoop bangs.
Red.
Yeah. It's a velvety sort of two-piece, matchy,
Oh yeah. Very good.
Yeah, she looks great.
So good.
I mean, shock, right?
Yeah.
But I and he's you're not gonna who it's for, and we cut to Penny being Julia, they're fucking pissed. But then we just cut to cocktails, and they're down. And yeah, the quotes that you mentioned, David, I gotta. P.S. We still hate you, but it's the 21st century. Shouldn't be this hard for a girl to get an evil demigod abortion. Elliot says, and we're emotionally advanced. We can hold resentment and sympathy for a person at the same time. And I wrote down those notes and then just wrote, I love them both so much.
Mm-hmm.
But then they also throw in that they need money. So
and filler is broke. We need gold, so lucky you. And also, what's great is that since they're cheersing and traditionally in a heist thing, if they're doing a heist for a pregnant person, the pregnant person doesn't get to drink. But since Julia does not want this child, she still gets to enjoy the cheers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a really fun little detail. She's I don't want this baby. Cheers.
I hadn't even thought about that, but yeah, you're right. Yeah, and it's just like, it's weird to be like, oh, they all haven't been together in a room since like episode 1 of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like Margot saying, who here has actually robbed the bank? And she fucking raises her hand.
Because of course she has.
Right?
I
Like,
fucking love her. Yeah.
makes sense. I mean, like that she says it was senior year of high school.
Of course.
You know, that's what you do in senior year of high school when you're rebelling. You rob a fucking
Rob a
bank.
bank.
This episode, like, shows us just how good she is about being in, like, of course she is, like, domineering and confident, but she's also good at being in charge.
Yes.
Mhm. Like she had the plan down.
She knew everything.
She
Yeah.
knew all the facts.
Yeah.
I think that like this episode specifically does a really good job at reminding you that like the underlying assumption for all of these characters is that they're like, no matter how stupid they are, they're all really fucking smart in one way or another. And so like when you get to see their like specific like intelligences shine, and they're just like, nothing is hotter than that moment of Margot being like explaining the bank, explaining the wards, explaining how the battle magicians work. And I'm just like, punch me in the face.
I know she just got brought on board. She's clearly Case's bank because she was like, these are the 2 managers. These are the ones we're going after. This is what's happening.
She's been waiting.
Yeah, like she's planned this.
And yeah, I do like the system that she tells us they have set up. I mean, Angela, like you said, like I really could see that being real. Like,
Oh yeah.
and it makes sense within that universe when she's like, oh, the people that work there, they don't know. But every one of the banks is owned and they have like magical.
Just think about like all the buildings in DC with all the different symbols, occult symbols that are, and you're like, and the people that work there, they don't know. Like it just made so much. I remember watching that when they had said that, and I was like, oh, I bet this is real. This one is, you know how sometimes they throw real things in with the fake stuff. I believe that's real.
And like it just makes sense for the like magical protections, right? Like I don't know, that just like tracks. And I think because she says what, like every bank has that, right? Doesn't she say like all of them do?
Any bank that has,
worth
like, the
robbing.
gold or
Because like if you live in a world where this type of threat does exist, in order to like at that point sort of harness that sort of generational wealth, you will have to have understood how to block against that. And so then because of that, as you like, you know, do big shadow organization background conspiracy theory things, that is why you know about this, but you're like, front of line people don't need to know, but you do.
And I love that idea. And we see like Margot, after she's like saying it, someone says it's like Mission Impossible, and then Elliot's like, the movie was stupidly unrealistic. And I like, they're just like, a gravity belt, of course, that's so much easier. Also, I fully forgot the Penny's hands still weren't fixed. Like I know I have been watching it, and I was like, oh, they're not fixed yet. I thought they were.
Yeah, I kept thinking that like all the like little things that he does up until now in Breakville South, I'm like, surely his hands are unfucked by now, and they're not. Right. They're just not.
They're working on that still.
Yeah.
Because I forgot that we didn't wrap up him going to see, like, he goes to see Mayakovsky, but he's like getting stuff for him.
That's why he was in the library when Katie showed up, because he was getting a book for Mayakovsky.
Yeah. We learn, so the invisible goblin thingy attacks them. And Katie, as you said, David, all of them have their like things. Katie picked up on it like right away. So Katie's like, nah, I need its spoon. And I like that he's like, what? Spoon? And she like stays there to kill it, gets the spoon, and goes to see the Moondang and like throws the spoon down, knowing it's theirs. And it makes sense that Katie would know about that kind of magic, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That scene really frustrated me because like I wanted them, because like they're like asking them like, hey, can you like stop sending these goblins after us? It's like, well, they'll stop coming after you once you've paid us. And I'm like, if you just told them, give us 24 hours, like let us fill out this plan that we're doing to get you the money without this thing like bothering us. If you give us this 24 hours, if that doesn't work, send it after us, whatever, we don't care, while we keep trying. But like, give us this time. And I understand why for a TV show you don't do that. But in my mind, I'm like, just say that. But
she's not interested in the money. She just wants to murder the baby. It's altruistic murder on her part.
I also just like how like very matter of fact that woman is. She's just like,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
it's gonna keep coming unless you pay me.
Mm-hmm.
Not my problem.
But I also do love when she's like, I think my sister's stupid for doing it because you're not going to pay us if you're dead.
Yeah.
But I can't stop her.
Do anything about it, so good luck. So we also learn that Julia like can't really go because like she attracts these. Do we have a name? We don't have a name for them, do we? I don't know.
They're goblins.
They're goblins.
Okay. I didn't know if I had just put that in my notes as like a placeholder.
No. When she's explaining to them what it is, she says like, I think the closest translation she can get or something like that is goblin.
Yeah.
And we circle back to our best bitches necklace, which I like. And so Julia can kind of be there. Dave and I were talking about this. I like the building of their friendship. I like forgot that we get a lot of like, not just like,
Julia.
Yeah, like I forgot like they are like legit close friends and they like fun.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing this time around I've noticed so often is like so much of the things they do are things we've seen them do in previous. Like we like the necklace comes back. There's something else in this episode that I was like, oh, that's from this episode. Like spell that they mentioned. But now I can't remember.
Oh, is it the time travel one?
Is that from another episode?
Because they do. The time travel is like a reference to like a different spell that they say that.
Yeah, they said
done.
I can't remember their group, but Richard and their group did something because I assume they were eating pizza multiple because Katie calls it Deja Pizza.
Okay. All right. I didn't know what the fuck that was. I was like, I know that's the thing that does the time loop.
Yeah. But like it alludes to their history. Like they do have sort of like a history that like goes deeper than like we can remember sometimes, and that's fun.
Right. It's fun because it's like if you remember, that's kind of cool, but if you don't, it's fine too. It doesn't.
They've known each other for as long as we've known them, and that's fascinating because we know things about each of them that they don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point, David. I hadn't thought about that. So I put in my notes the day of Ocean's 11.
Oh, yeah. We skipped the part where they got their fingers.
The fingers.
Isn't that on the day of?
No, it's the night before.
No, they do that the night before.
Okay.
Because Penny and Katie tell Quentin that he earned his rest based on where his finger.
Right. Oh, right. Okay. So then, right. I didn't realize what the fuck they were doing. Even this time around, I was like, I don't understand and then when Quentin had the one long nail and I thought, why does he have a coke nail? Oh, that's the lady's finger. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, once the finger is inside of you, it clones onto your hand, essentially, with whatever spell they cast.
I do like the reference of, like, it can be anywhere inside of you, not your mouth.
I do love that, like, Quentin speaks up so that, like, because Margot says it'll be her and Katie that do. He's like, why does that have to be Katie? Why can't it be, like, Elliot or Penny? And then they're both like, sounds like you just volunteered. He's like, okay, fine, I'll do it. Margot's like, great, now I don't have to go.
Great,
you and Katie get to do it.
I love her. She was like born to be the one, like, handing out orders and giving commands,
and like telling your hot friends how to be slutty. Like, go up to him at the bar, like put your finger in his drink, like do like whomst amongst us hasn't done that for a free beer?
David. So they got the fingers for the fingerprint. We see that, what is it? Oh, Margot. Then we go to the day of after the finger, after the fingy stuff. Margot's staying in the van because, as she says, I wrote down the quote, the brains of the operation drives the getaway. Okay, bitches, let's do this. Like, I liked it. She's like, no, I'm not going to do the hard work. I did the planning, which fair. She did do all the planning.
Nailed it.
And I'm going to make sure it succeeds. Like, once you guys have done the really hard part, if we get caught, then it is my fault.
Yeah. Right. She's okay with that.
Yeah. Because I'm not going to get caught once I'm in charge.
They release bees into the bank, which I kind of love. They pose as hazmat crews. I liked Julia watching Quentin struggle to get his like hazmat outfit off. It's very cute. Okay, but have we seen the machine before? I know that you said they mentioned it, but did we see that device before? Because I really was like, I don't know what the fuck she's fiddling with. Like, time machine, sure.
Yeah, she was working on it earlier in the episode when her and Katie, like...
But I mean, like...
I don't know, because she says this spell is like 2.0 from what they did previously, so I don't know if it was the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, but she's like fiddling with it like
I have to
earlier.
go back and wait.
Yeah, because since I watched it
season
yesterday
one.
and watched it again today, I was like clocking if I had seen the machine earlier.
Hmm.
And like it is like on
We
the
do
bed
see her working
during
out
that scene. We
throughout
see
the
her
episode
working on it. And like she does say, "Oh, like I figured it out."
All right.
But
Yeah.
I haven't watched season one since we did it last year for the podcast, and I can't recall.
I'm looking at the wiki now. It has a name. It's called The Quarterback.
Oh yeah, because it goes back
it goes
15
back 15
seconds.
seconds. And
Yeah.
Richard likes dad jokes because he's a hot dad.
Oh, right. They do say that. Yeah, I guess it just is for. It's funny. The Magician's Wiki. I don't know if any of y'all have looked at it. It's like I feel like only 3 fans like run it because there's always like things that like we'll have a link and then the page is empty and it like doesn't actually have anything. Yeah,
You know, it could be one of those things that they just like talk about, and like maybe I've just inceptioned myself into thinking that I've seen it before this episode because like they've said it's real, so I've just believed them.
Mm-hmm.
fair.
Like I don't question something at this point when it's on The Magicians. I'm like, okay, sure, why not?
I think that's the best way to watch the show.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah,
Like either I remember it or I've forgotten it. Those are the 2 options. I'm not logicking this out. That's not my job.
I was talking about that in relation to like Marvel stuff. How like growing up reading comics, you had to do that a lot reading comics because like I read X-Men all the time, but the other comics I wasn't as into. But like there would be a crossover, and then I wouldn't know what the fuck was going on, and it was fine. I just would be like, guess that happened in Captain America, and I just missed it. Sure.
Yeah. I read a lot of like Nintendo Power as a child, so I just like read a lot about like video games that I never played and never would play, but I knew about all their stories and all the characters, or like I would read all the like advice columns. So I like had all this random knowledge on how to play games that I will never play, and so it's like, yeah, I just accept this as truth, and I'll figure it out later.
That's fair. That's fair. I feel like with the trading cards as a kid, that's where I learned so much about the character. There would be like a character who's like, I knew their real name, I knew their power set, and I had never seen them in a comic book ever.
And they've
but I had a
probably
trading card.
only been in like 4 comic books, and you
Yeah.
will never see them.
So I do like the EDM music that plays because it's very of that time. Like,
Oh yeah.
I feel like that was the music we were blasting when I worked at the Museum of Sex. Like that was like what we always played.
I like the music in this show a lot.
Yeah,
Like,
I do too.
It's
And they do a good job of both, where it's like something that's famous, but then something that's like a little bit more indie. Sorry.
How loud? No. I'm just like wondering, like, how loud were those 2 security guards banging that they did not hear the like alarm for the wasps?
They were like
'Cause, like-
enchanted, right?
No, but I mean, like, because like they like
Yeah, they
were
duck
like
into a closet.
they duck
before
into
the
a closet
heist
to
starts.
bang it out before the heist starts, and that's why he has to do the enchantment to get them gone. Like, how loud were they going at it?
And when they started, there was customers and other staff. So if they were
Like,
that
why did they
loud,
not notice anything after they walked out?
who knows? They were really into it, and good for them.
And one of the things that they said in that moment, because I watched it again today, so I clocked it. They're like, "Oh yeah, like if you read the book and then you watch the movie, you're always a little bit disappointed." And I think it's so funny for a TV show based off of a book series to like make a mention of that when they've also talked about like Game of Thrones in previous episodes. It's like, all right, like, yeah, remind people that like these are similar stories, but not necessarily the same. Enjoy what you have.
And in season 1, when they meet the librarian and she calls Margot Janet,
Mm-hmm.
and Margot's like, actually, it's Margot. And she says, oh, this time.
This time.
Like, I love that. Yeah.
Exactly. Like, I just think it's like such like clever little like,
Yeah.
hee.
No, I agree. Penny teleports in with the gravity belt. You know, what thing I do like about some of the like magic technology they do, like the time machine, like the gravity belt, is like it looks weirdly old timey, and I kind of like that because like they don't really need it to be like super new technology because they can just like magic it, so like it can be some old shit and they just enchant it or whatever. But then what is it? He accidentally touches.
So as he's loading up on gold, the buoyancy is off, so he's slowly sinking.
Mm-hmm.
I do love when they're like the whole floor is an anti-traveler sigil. When they actually look at the floor, it's just tile work, but like the symbols are built into the tiles.
Mm-hmm.
Which is really cool.
Yeah.
But I do have a question.
Yes.
So he's able to touch the gold, and he's able to like pick it up and put. Why doesn't he just stand on the gold pallet instead of?
All of us, for anyone not watching, we all just like turned our head like
They all tilted
me,
their heads
Angela,
the
and
same
David
direction.
tilted our head like pugs.
Like, once
Also,
you
like-
started to sink, wouldn't you just be like, okay, I'm gonna
Also,
stand
why
up
not
with
like put your like knees up to your chest?
Also, yeah,
that
something.
could also work. I'd have my feet at like a 45-degree angle to make sure that they didn't touch.
Oh, David has his legs up in the air. Sorry, I had to.
If the shoe fits.
And I do like that he like can go into Elliot's mind because
of the
technically Elliot is dreaming.
Mm-hmm.
But like I do like that little like workaround we get.
Yeah. It also establishes like there's a thing that like runs throughout this episode that sort of annoys me, and that like everyone in this world would in fact understand Quentin if he just said Nif and Alice is stuck in my back.
Yeah.
Like they would all like actually understand that, and yet he's just like
So
not telling
true.
them for some reason. And like that's what frustrates me about him, because they would all just be like, "Oh, that sucks. How can we help you?"
Real
And
quick on
instead
that
he just
point,
like,
just because he won't tell anyone. When he first speaks to Julia in Alice's room, he says something along the lines of like, "My best friend doesn't trust me to tell me da 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 da." I'm like, Alice is also sitting on the bed, and you're not telling her about Alice.
Yeah, like you're complaining about something that you're also not doing, and so like I also don't think you are allowed to complain about that if you yourself are not willing to be that vulnerable.
That is true. Yeah. I feel like a lot of shows, sometimes the problems would be solved if characters talked it
people
out.
spoke.
Like that's
Yeah.
I mean,
Communicated.
Colin, we're Lost girlies. That's like the whole problem with
Yeah.
Lost, right?
That's
Oh,
how you get
absolutely.
dramatic irony. Like I do get that that's how story structure works, but like I'm always just like, oh, but like this show has shown that like you can do more fun things than that, because
Oh yeah.
what fucks up in the heist isn't because they didn't plan for every weird eventuality. It's because something a little bit went wrong. Not because they were incompetent, but just because oops.
Penny says it's just the buoyancy math was
the
off.
buoyancy was off a little bit. Yeah. And so it's just like, oh yeah, like this is interesting because they all trusted each other's competence and like skill to begin with.
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah, no, and like yeah, I and I don't say that to be like, well, duh, David. I say that because
No.
that was my complaint with Lost all the time.
Yeah.
I'd be like, why didn't Locke just tell Jack he did this thing?
Yeah.
It'd solve the problem.
But then what are we watching?
Right,
Yeah.
right. I remember Series of Fortunate Events, Netflix series. My ex and I watched that, and we would get stoned and watch it. And every episode, I'd be like, why don't they just say what happened? Why don't they just... And he'd be like, you can't say this every episode. Like, I can't watch this with you. Every episode, we have the exact same complaint. And like, I knew it was the same complaint, but it drove me nuts because it's like, but they're going to see Cal Orlok again. Like, well, I do like when they're outside and he says something like, Elliot says Penny messed up, even though Penny is saying that Elliot messed up.
Yep.
But at that point, he knows no one else can see Penny, because when he first shows up, it's almost like he thinks
assumes
Penny's
that
just
everyone
there,
can
right?
see him.
Yeah. And he says, tell them I'm fine. I'm just running out of air. And Elliot says, way to mix the message. Quentin, Katie, and Elliot go back. I like his little disco ball spell. I got like a big kick out of that. And how intensely they were. It wasn't just like, oh, they're dancing. It's like they were like,
Oh no, they were
But
giving.
they were going at it.
They get to the door. Is Elliot making a dick joke when he says, I think this door is too thick even for you?
I thought so.
I didn't
Probably.
think so. Oh,
I
I
didn't-
actually didn't think so.
I didn't
just
think
thought
so when
that,
I watched
like,
it, just because she tends to explode things. But
Yeah.
I can see it.
I thought they were just talking about her being like really forceful and like blowing things up all the time, not actually a sex thing.
But it is something
Elliot-
Elliot would make a sex
It
thing out of,
is.
So
It is.
There's a lot of double entendre going
Yeah.
on.
Mhm.
I think
all the
even
time.
being able to ask that question probably tells you what the answer is. Almost.
Fair. Yeah, fair.
Like the answer's probably yeah.
Yeah. And he even says, like, what is it? They have like 4 minutes left. He's like, not even Alice could do this in 4 minutes. But Nif and Alice is like, what does she say? Like 40 seconds?
I can do it in 15
15 seconds.
seconds.
Now.
Yeah.
And Nif and Alice here
If you'll
is
just
like,
let me drive.
She's so good and she's like so hot, and like this negotiation of like, give me your body for an hour a day. I just want to like, I just want knowledge. I just want to be free. Like, just let me do this. He's like, fine. Like, she's like, look, dude, word is bond. We can do word is bond. Like, whatever. And he's like, fine, you'll get 30 minutes after we figure this out. And she's like, deal. Okay. And so like that foreplay to like the sex scene payoff of him figuring out like the ward is so good.
Yeah, I love him turning back towards the wall and she's already got it all figured out.
Yeah. He's like, I like long division.
I also don't even understand why he hesitated. I'd have been like, sure, yeah, fine. Like,
yeah. But also, like, that's a moment that he could have just been like, guys, I have Nif and Alice with me. She just solved it. Like, if he just told them this, they would understand what was happening. It doesn't need to be a secret.
But did y'all notice? I felt like Elliot picked up on there being something else.
Mm-hmm. He did say, like, are you talking to yourself? Like, he...
Yeah. And then once it opens, he, like
yeah.
kind of like glares at him like,
because he's also existing on a different plane. Like there's a part of Elliot that's existing on a different plane than they are. It's why Penny was even able to see him when he traveled.
That's true. Yeah. So like it makes sense that he might
be catching things that others aren't.
The vibes are a little off or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I do like that she has already written the whole thing out on the wall. Like, oh, that's the other thing, that the word is bond, like that being like unbreakable. That is something we heard before because Julia did that with the Beast.
Yep.
And that's how she knew he wasn't going to like kill her or anything. And again, that's like one of those little things where, you know, once they say, oh, the word is bond, like, you know what that means. So you don't need to have seen it before, but it is like cute that we have seen it before. And we do know that it is a thing.
You understand the gravity of it without having to be told every single time what it means. Like, you know that like this character is like no bullshit. So her being like, look, dude, I really want this thing, so I am offering what you know to be the strongest version of what I can offer you.
Yeah.
Take it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So he does that. He opens a vault. We see that like Julia is like working on her quarterback machine. Like I feel like, she's like trying to finish it in case they need it kind of thing. And where are we, Colin?
They get into the vault, get Penny. They all take a little more gold than just what Penny had stocked, and then their time runs out.
Right.
So the wards go back up,
and
then they step outside, and the battle magician that's on staff is alerted.
Deborah from HR.
I do like that it's like this badass older lady who's just slow motion walking. It's like
in Everything Everywhere All at Once when Jamie Lee Curtis is like
yes.
Also, her fucking whip thing is cool.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I think that's like, I like that she's like the cool slow motion walk and that there's like a wall of cool weapons that opens up and that she picks a whip. It feels like a gun would be the easiest and there's like some pretty big guns.
Yeah.
But like,
I also feel like, she's a badass magician. She doesn't need a gun.
Yeah.
What's the fuck you need a gun for?
Yeah.
I like that it's like twice in a row that they die the exact same way and it's like,
God damn it. But then they start to learn and like, that's the fun of playing a roguelike video game.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say this show in particular, tiny spoiler, we do time loop again in one of my favorite episodes. And I was thinking of moments from that and I was like, wait, when does this happen? Oh, that's the other time loop episode. That is an episode I revisit a lot.
These characters have gone through so many time loops because by the time we've met them, they're already on their 38?
39, I think it is.
39,
right.
So this is already version 39 of them. Some of them have died already in this because they just died again at the hand of the beast. So it's like, how many times have you died, my guy?
I've said this a lot, but we watch these characters die a lot on this show.
And I love when characters die and then they're just like, oh, you're back. Cool. Hi.
I feel like that's probably cool as an actor. Like, oh, I'm still on the show. I get to have a cool death scene, but then it's fine and I still get to be on the show. When I did that indie horror movie, I had a blast dying. I thought it was so much fucking fun. And also, I say this about all of them. All of them would be good in a Marvel movie. Also, all of them would be good in horror movies, I think. They would all work really well. They're acting styles. Except for I'd want everyone to survive then if it was all of them in a horror movie. So what is it? Elliot protects them because it's Gollum Elliot, so he can die. He dies, and it's very Quentin that even though they know it's not really him, he's still like, and Penny's like, it's Clay, let's go. But he's still like a little,
He still feels pain. Like he's still in that body.
Then cut back to him in Fillory.
To him in Fillory.
Freaking out.
If you die in your dreams, you die for real.
Yeah.
Angela. It is Freddy Krueger rules. You're right. They get out the last time, and Margot and Julia are attacked by the goblin. Rudely knocks Margot out, throws her across the alley. Did you notice what she was wearing? She looks fucking fantastic. She's wearing like those tights and those little boots. They look great.
So good.
And then Katie comes outside, and like you mentioned, David, she has the fucking whip and like whips those goblins, and it's fucking cool.
I don't understand why she just like doesn't have that whip with her for every single episode for the rest of the show. Like that should just be Katie's whip. Katie gets to have an electro whip, and like her and Penny get to have really fun sex with it. I don't understand why I can't get this. I'm sorry. I'm speaking my truth.
And you're right. You should say it.
I'm sorry.
They would be into it too. I feel like both of them would.
They would be.
Oh, absolutely.
They're very like, I'll try anything once, twice if I'm bored. Like,
yeah. So we get outside, we do the whip, we save everybody. Julia is knocked out and then wakes up in the butcher shop. They've done the exorcism abortion, and we end on her telling Julia it worked, but there was a complication.
Because of course there was for Julia.
Yeah.
Because our girl can never get a break.
Cannot catch a break.
Solving her problems, still not catching a break.
Even like I remember like when they were begging for asylum at the beginning, and I was just like, Henry Fogg, you owe this to Julia because this specific version of Julia is your fault.
Yes.
Because of time loops.
Yes.
This has only happened because of you. This is literally your fault.
Yeah, I really like this episode. I like how like straightforward it is. I like seeing them all together. And I feel like the show does this really well when it's like that kind of spoiler, but like the show continues in the pattern it normally is where like characters have their own plots. But we do usually get at least one moment where it's like they all come together.
Anytime they all come together, it's a good time.
It's always fucking cool, and I always love it. Season 3 has my favorite moment of that. Now that we're at the end, favorite outfit, Colin?
It is, I'm going to go with Margot's planning outfit, the red two-piece.
It's good. It's good.
Yeah.
Angela?
I'm co-signing. I don't even know that there is I'm hard pressed to see what other outfit anyone is going to come up with other than that amazing red fuchsia, whatever.
David?
We're going for a 3-peat.
Well, great. So we're going for a 4-peat with an additional. I have that and Margot's end outfit because I think the tights and the little boots look really good on her. Yeah. But yeah, Margot kills it. They always I feel like the fashion on the show is always good, but Margot's always almost always the best one of the outfits.
I'll also do an honorable mention to Elliot's golem. While when Margot's in that same outfit that we all just voted for, Elliot's golem's outfit is also pretty good.
Yeah, he's usually dressed pretty well too.
Yeah, he's
I mean, it makes sense that they would be the best dressed.
Absolutely.
As well
because they're hot.
Yeah.
Very.
Favorite scene, David?
It's honestly Nif and Alice saying negotiating for her freedom and solving the problem. I just think that Nif and Alice is so much fun. She's such a bitch and she's so smart and good. I love her. She's my baby. I will protect her at all costs.
Angela.
And then she'll kill me for it. And it'll be great.
She'll fucking kill you.
She doesn't need me to protect her at all. She'll be like, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm like, thank you. Sorry I bothered you.
Angela, favorite scene?
I'm going to go with the leading up to the exorcism, I guess, where they're all arguing and deciding on the gold bars. I like that scene. I think it's fun. And
Colin?
I'm going to give it to the time loops. Once they all get murdered and then rewind up until they get out is just so much fun.
I think for me, I cheated again and I have 2. The time loop and I just love so much bringing the nuance to these characters of, we still hate you, but we're going to help you because we know this is terrible.
Yep.
Like, I love that because they're letting her know that they do still fucking hate her. And they do. Like, Margot can't stand her, but and we saw this in one of the previous episodes too, when Julia is like, I think one of you, maybe two of you were on for that one. The like when Margot catches Julia in the physical kid's cottage and she's like, you don't have any friends. But then Julia's like, this monster's raping and killing witches. And Margot's just like, okay, here's the box.
Here's the box. It'll do a Xerox.
Yeah. Like that is very like true to Margot's character. Like,
yeah, like I hate you, but I know that you're doing something that is ultimately good. And like, I'm not going to kill you right now because it's inconvenient for me. And the thing that you're working on is more important than me inconveniencing myself. So do that. Goodbye. I didn't see you. Yeah, like Margot and like Julia, even like when they're doing the 15-second time thing, like they're just like out there and they hate each other, but they trust each other because they know that they're competent. Like it's like, I hate you too. We have the same goal right now. I know you're really good at what you do. You know I'm really good at what I do. So like, let's fucking do this shit. Yeah. And that's so fucking cool.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, it reminds me very much of, I know we reference all the time, but in Buffy and Helpless, when Cordelia comes into the library and like she thinks there's a spell that did something, and Buffy's like crying and she just says like, Cordelia, can you drive me home? And without a blip, Cordy's like, yeah, of course. Like there's not thinking it. She like barely can stand Buffy, but she's like, yeah, if you need me to, sure. And that shit I love from a character. Like that's good character writing. What grade do we give this episode, Angela?
I'm going with an A. Solid A.
Yeah.
Solid A.
David?
Solid A. I fucking love a heist.
Yeah. Colin?
Yeah, A as well.
I only do A minus, so it's still an A. Cool. I just do the minus only because there's episodes that I love so much more that I was like, okay, those have to be the A and A plus.
Yeah,
but it's still an A.
You're grading on a curve. That's fine. I was a business student. I understand how that works.
I sure don't. I do grading for a living, and I don't fucking know. Thank you all for joining me. Thank you all for listening. If you like Slayerfest 98, you can find us on all social media platforms at SlayerFestX98. You can watch our video recordings because all of our recordings are video now on our YouTube channel, and you can listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and anywhere else you get your podcast. Please leave us a good review and rating because it helps get the podcast out there. If you want to support us, we are on Patreon, where we're going through X-Men the Animated Series, Batman the Animated Series, and every season of Buffy as it turns 25. Any and all support is much appreciated. If you want to follow me, I am at ENXCarlos. David, where can everyone find you?
Blue Sky at David Alexander and Instagram at David_Alexander91. I remember it this time.
I'm proud of you. And Angela, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Angela MFN Rockstar, and then there's my link tree that'll take you to all other places.
And Colin?
I am on Blue Sky at CSmith03.
All right, we'll see y'all next time. Bye.
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 Bye.